Digital helps you make cross-border payments. Human gives you global specialists. Digital allows you to apply for a loan anytime, anywhere. Human connects you to credit experts. Digital puts you in control of your money, while Human connects you to wealth advisors. Digital allows you to freeze, unfreeze, cancel, and reorder your card. Human gives you that personal touch. Digital when you want it. Human when you need it. Get the complete private banking experience with Nedbank Private Clients.
Welcome back. You're watching Nedbank Business Watch. Thank you for staying with us. You can also watch us on our YouTube page, Eswatini TV. Today on the Nedbank segment, we are talking about the Nedbank's foreign exchange services with Toba Agamete. Toba, very good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Let's talk about the role Nedbank plays, in terms of assisting clients to navigate through the foreign exchange market.
Thank you, Lula, and good afternoon to you and your viewers. So our role as a bank from a foreign exchange perspective is to give our clients access to global markets through the facilitation of their payments when they are making cross-border payments in foreign currencies. We also offer hedging solutions for our clients. We understand that markets are volatile, so we offer hedging solutions. And from also a trade perspective, we also have trade products that we offer our clients who are trading with international partners, especially new suppliers that they don't really have a relationship with. And one of those is our letter of credit. I think we'll delve into that as we proceed. Yeah,
I know in this kind of trade there are risks that come with it, but before we get to talking about the risks and how you mitigate them, let's talk about the benefits. Clients are more particular about consumer satisfaction and affordability. Take us through the benefits that come with the service.
All right, so importing is quite key for most industries. You've touched on affordability. We know that some products or goods or raw materials that go into the production that some of our clients are involved in are much cheaper in more industrialized economies or in first world countries, for example, China. So tapping into those markets then allow our clients to sort of produce the finished product at a lesser cost, thus maximizing on their return. You've also touched on customer satisfaction. If you are importing, you probably have a variety of products to choose from. So you're able to bring those into the country, and your clients can then have an option to choose, which then speaks to the customer satisfaction.
Yeah. Okay, and Toba, in this industry, there's, as I mentioned, there are a lot of risks. People get scammed every day. So, do you assist clients in getting, I'd say, credible suppliers, internationally?
Yes. So, from our perspective as a bank, we do not necessarily get our client suppliers. That lies with the client to explore available avenues to get in touch with suppliers through the internet, whatever platform that they can use. But where we come in as a bank in mitigating that risk is through the solutions that we offer. I've briefly touched on the letter of credit. So basically our clients can tap into that product to make sure that they are dealing with legitimate suppliers and that they won't be scammed.
Okay. So tell us more about the letter of credit. What happens once it has been established?
All right. So the letters of credit are commonly used international trade products to mitigate the risk of the supplier not honoring their obligation after payment, or the buyer not paying for the goods or the service that they have received. So basically, it's a financial document that the bank issues to guarantee that a seller who is going to deliver the product or the service that the buyer is acquiring. So the banks then sort of becomes guarantors to say our client is good for the payment, and in the case of default, the bank is going to cater, is going to pay the supplier. And the supplier's bank on the other side as well confirms that the client or the supplier is indeed in the business of what they say they are in, and they are going to deliver the product. So it sort of becomes
so it's
now
letters from both banks.
From both banks,
Okay.
yes. So it now sort of becomes an agreement between the two banks that both parties will honor their obligations. So in that way, customers can then, or rather buyers, can then sort of have that certainty that they're going to receive the goods that they're importing.
Okay. So what documents does the client need to produce, for your service or for an exchange service? And it could be an individual or a company.
So I think the base would be proof of the underlying transaction. So it can either be an invoice, a pro forma invoice if you are importing, or it can be an agreement if you are getting a technical service. So the contract that says party A is going to do 1, 2, 3 for you, and then once these conditions are met, you're going to make the payment. So I think as a start, we would require that we get the invoice in the case of imports, or the agreement in the case of services. We can then from there advise the client what additional documents are required, because we are guided by exchange control regulations. So depending on the type or on the nature of the payment, we're then able to say, oh, such a payment requires an import permit in addition to what you've submitted, or it requires central bank approval as well, because we do have payments where the central bank has to approve them prior to them being effected.
Okay, so now contracts are signed, everything is good to go. So what then happens, there's still the exchange rate exposure the client is exposed to that needs to be considered. What then happens?
Yes, so as you've said, you've established now that you have this obligation. You've entered into the letter of credit, and you know that in 3 months, for example, you will need to make a payment in foreign currency. We know that rates are very volatile. You might be signing that contract today and the rate is 17, and in 3 months' time when you need to pay, it's 18.5. That's a 150 difference, and it can make a substantial amount that can probably eat into your profit margins if not hedged. So from a bank perspective, we offer forward exchange contracts, FECs, to our clients to mitigate such a risk, whereby we agree today to pay a fixed amount of foreign currency at a predetermined rate. So we agree on the rate today, we agree on the amount that is going to be paid, and the date at which that payment is going to be made, and that is locked. So no matter where the rate will be trading on the day of payment, the client rests assured that the payment is going to be made at the agreed rate that was done at establishment.
So for clients to be provided with the service, they need to come to the bank months prior. Could it be weeks, months? How much time do they have?
So it's always wise to do it at inception of the contract or that agreement. The moment you know that you have this obligation, I will use just for a flow the case of an LC. The moment that LC is established, it's quite prudent to then lock the rate, because you know that in a certain amount of time you will need to make a payment. Yes. So yeah, I would say as soon as the obligation is formalized and it's known, then it's quite prudent to then hedge it.
Yeah. So what types of goods, can companies or individuals import into the country?
So it's quite a variety, quite a lot. I think as I've mentioned, we have exchange control regulations that guides in terms of the different goods and services that can be imported into the country. In the case of goods, we do have, as I've said, goods that require import permits, for example. That would be your used cars, used machinery, mostly, I'll say anything used, basically. It requires you to have an import permit. You also have pharmaceutical, and you have things like agricultural products. All of those require you to have an import permit. But overall, I think it just depends on what you want to do.
Technological services, those also.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So technological services as well. Clients can sort of get service providers that are outside the country, get into contracts with them, and as a bank, we require that we get those contracts up front as well, because there are some technical services that require us to have central bank approval before we can make payments. So it's quite good to get those in advance so that we can advise accordingly, have the approvals in place in time, so that when payments now need to be made, everything is in order and there are no delays.
Yeah, so it's possibly it's likely that your clients cannot be victims of scams, because if it's just as you just said, Guguti, there are mitigation risks that Nedbank offers to your clients.
Yes, yes. So it is. So all of these products that I've spoken to, the letters of credit, the forward exchange contracts, they sort of try and manage or try and mitigate those risks for our clients. So there is that risk if you don't use these products, and where you important. You are important for the first time, for example. You don't know the supplier. You don't have a relationship with them. You will make a payment and you'll find out that they don't honor their side of the deal. That is, they don't send the goods to you. But if you have this solution, this letter of credit, then the banks in between, your bank and the bank of the seller, have an agreement that should you then default, the bank is liable. Should he then default, their bank is liable.
All right. So lastly, before I let you go, how do they get in contact with you, your clients?
So our clients can reach us on our numbers. First, it will be our help desk or our direct line. That is 2378 1999. Okay. Yes, sorry about that.
And also your socials.
and then our social platforms as well.
Right.
Otherwise, from a foreign exchange perspective, our direct line is there. They can reach us at 2378 1249 or 1273. And they can also email us at Nedbank Treasury Eswatini at nedbank.co.za. .sz.
All right. Thank you so much, Toba. You'll join us again later in the program on our last segment for today's financial markets. Right about now, let's take a break. See how we are.